Welcome to M4PG guys. Today's session with Dr. Madineni for dermatology. Let's begin.
Hi friends, in this video I would discuss about one important topic in dermatology which is acne vulgaris, from which every year questions will come. And if you are not yet checked out my channel on Telegram, do check it out. The name of it is Crack Derma with Dr. MSD, and you can directly Google Crack Derma with Dr. MSD, and the first uh, channel name which you will get is my channel. You can join that, and daily I will post polls which are very important questions in dermatology, which were past questions, and also I would discuss even, and I would post future possible questions. And also do join my YouTube channel. You can search DRMSD in the search bar. The first channel which you would get is my channel. Do subscribe it. Okay, let's begin today's topic. Before talking about acne vulgaris, I would just briefly talk about sebaceous glands. See, these are associated with hair follicles, and the function of them is to produce sebum, secrete sebum. The contents of these are triglycerides, fatty wax esters, free fatty acids. Remember, free fatty acids are only minimal part of sebum, squalene, and cholesterol. These are all the components of the sebum. And maximum concentration of sebum, sebaceous glands, is present in face and scalp. And one more point which is to be remembered is that sebaceous glands are present since birth, but they are androgen dependent. So they will become active only at puberty because they are androgen dependent. And as you have already know that eccrine glands are merocrine glands and apocrine are apocrine type of glands. Likewise, sebaceous glands are holocrine glands. That is, whole of the cell will be secreted into the lumen. So, with that, we'll coming to the acne vulgaris topic proper. It is pilosebaceous unit disorder. Remember, it's not just sebaceous unit disorder. It also includes hair follicle with it because it is closely associated with hair follicle. There are certain areas in our body where sebaceous glands are present even without association with hair follicle. I would discuss about them at the end of this video. And in the etiopathogenesis, there are four important factors. That is hyperkeratinization, Bacterium Propionibacterium acnes, and hormone androgens, and the inflammatory causative interleukin 1 alpha activity. What would happen is that initially there would be increased sebum secretion, that is because of increased androgens, and followed by which there will be increased sebum production. So if there is a proper exit is normal without any blockage, there won't be any problem. But in acne, what will happen is there will be blockage at the exit level because of hyperkeratinization at the infundibulum. So the Propionibacterium acnes, which is present associated with the sebaceous glands, what it will do is the free fatty acid production will be increased by the acne, Propionibacterium acnes, because of the presence of an enzyme called lipase. This will convert the triglycerides into free fatty acids. Remember, free fatty acids are minimal in amounts, but because of the activity of lipase enzyme by the Propionibacterium acnes, there will be excess of production of the free fatty acids, and these free fatty acids have a role in inflammation. So all these put together will act and cause the etiopathogenesis of the acne vulgaris. And one more important component is diet is also one more component, and that is high glycemic diet is important to remember, but not oily food as opposed to the earlier concepts. The high glycemic diet will lead to increased insulin-like growth factor. So coming to the clinical features, the patient usually comes with many types of lesions ranging from papules, pustules, nodules, cysts, and closed comedones. But remember, the pathognomonic lesions of acne are comedones. I'll show you a picture. Yes, as you can see here, these are blackheads, as known in colloquial language, and these are whiteheads. So blackheads are open type of comedones and whiteheads are the closed ones. So based upon the type of lesions present in a patient, acne is graded as grade 1, where the comedones are predominant lesions with few papules. Grade 2, if the papules are more predominant and few pustules can be present. Grade 3, if the predominant lesions are pustules, and grade 4, also the most severe grade of acne vulgaris. It is also called as nodulocystic because there are nodules and cysts in this grade 4, and even abscesses and scarring can also be present. So this is grade 2 where you are able to see predominantly inflammatory erythematous papules. And here it is grade 3 with pustules which are predominating, and here you can see a huge cyst development and also associated nodules which are solid elevated lesions more than 1 centimeter. And there are few variants of acne vulgaris like neonatal acne or infantile acne. This is because of the maternal hormone dihydroepiandrosterone. And one more, acne conglobata. It is the most severe form of acne. Acne fulminans, also called as acne maligna, where there will be associated constitutional symptoms like fever, myalgia, and arthralgia. There is one more entity called acne excorias seen in teenage girls who are having obsessive compulsive disorder. They will keep on pricking their acne lesions, because of which there will be excoriations on the face. And one more important topic, drug induced or acneiform eruptions are also called as monomorphic acne. See, as we have discussed, acne vulgaris will have polymorphic lesions ranging from comedones, papules, pustules, nodules, and cysts. Whereas, if it is drug induced, it is called acneiform eruptions. This will be monomorphic, that is, only one type of lesions will be there, and remember, there will not be any comedones in this. And one more differentiating feature is it will involve trunk. The common drugs which are responsible for the acneiform eruptions can be remembered with the mnemonic SHIELD, where S stands for steroids, halogens, iodides, bromides, etc. Isoniazid, which is anti-tubercular treatment, and EGFR inhibitors, lithium, galantin, or phenytoin. And one more important drug is oral contraceptives. And remember, the drug which can cause acneiform eruptions differ in the world, in the India, and in the West. So in the world, the most common ones are steroids, whereas in India it is isoniazid, whereas in the West it is oral contraceptives. So that is it. And there are some syndromes which are associated with acne vulgaris. So remember as three groups. Hyran syndrome, you are all very well versed because it even comes in gynecology, and also in acanthosis nigricans topic it is there, where there will be associated insulin resistance and hyperandrogenism, that is Hyran syndrome. Whereas these two you would probably read again in orthopedics because there will be associated bones and joints involvement here. Here in SAPO, the S stands for synovitis, A for acne, P for pustulosis, H for hyperostosis, and O for osteitis. So there is bones and joints involvement here. Along with, of course, the A stands for acne and pustulosis. Whereas in Papa syndrome, there is pyogenic arthritis and pyoderma gangrenosum. So pyo is common here in Papa and A is for acne. And in this Saha syndrome, S stands for seborrhea, A for acne, hirsutism, and androgenic alopecia. See how crazy it is. There is androgenic alopecia at one end, and there is increased unwanted hair, unwanted terminal hair development at unwanted sites. So this is ironical. Okay, coming to the treatment. We have graded acne into grade 1, 2, 3, 4, and based upon these grades only we will give the treatment for acne. So in the grade 1, the treatment which we use is topical retinoids, the adapalene and tretinoin. And remember, in few books it is given that isotretinoin can be used, but remember isotretinoin is not topical agent. Okay, and for grade 2, along with the topical retinoid, we would add topical antibiotic like clindamycin, nadifloxacin. And for grade 3 and grade 4, we will also give orals. Like grade 3, topical retinoids is used. Along with that, we can use benzoyl peroxide too. And we will add oral antibiotics like doxycycline, tetracycline group of drugs, and macrolide group of drugs. And in grade 4, nodulocystic acne or severe form of acne vulgaris, the treatment which we use is oral isotretinoin. Coming to the individual group of drugs, among topicals, the retinoids are used, and the major adverse reaction due to the topical retinoids is irritation. And the other group of drugs topically used are benzoyl peroxide, and topical antibiotics like clindamycin 1 to 2%, erythromycin 2 to 4%, and also nadifloxacin. And even azelaic acid can be used in concentrations of 10 to 20%. And since it is a tyrosinase inhibitor, even it can help in to reduce the pigmentation component. Okay, and in the systemic treatment, in the antibiotics, doxycycline. The important point to remember about doxycycline is that it can cause photoonycholysis. This was asked earlier. And regarding minocycline, this was given in AIMS as a case scenario where it was given that a teenage girl took minocycline for 2 years. They have not mentioned the drug, in fact. They have given, she was using a drug for 2 years for acne vulgaris, and then she developed bluish black or grayish pigmentation of the skin. Particularly, they have mentioned scars of the acne over the face. So, what is the drug? The drug here is minocycline. It can even lead to bluish black or grayish discoloration of the nails. So, what is the reason for this? This is because of iron deposition in the dermis that will cause the pigmentation. Okay, next is anti-androgens. So, when will we use anti-androgens? If we suspect hormonal acne, so then these will have more role. So, how will the case scenario be given if they have to tell you that it is hormonal acne which is given? The acne lesions will be more over the beard area, that is mandibular area and the chin, and also they can give you associated female pattern hair loss. They can give you hirsutism. They can give you menstrual irregularities. And also they can give you infertility, a history of infertility. So if all these are present along with acne, then it would go more of in favor of hormonal acne. Okay. So then next most important medication which is used orally, that is systemically, is isotretinoin. They can also mention it as 13-cis retinoic acid. The mechanism of action is it will act on all the four levels of etiopathogenesis which we have talked. That is, it will reduce sebum secretion, and also it has an activity against Peter's acnes, and also it is indicated mainly in severe form of acne and nodulocystic acne. Sorry, that was Propionibacterium acnes. That is Propionibacterium acnes, not Pityrosporum. That was by mistake. Pityrosporum is associated with other conditions like folliculitis over the trunk. So here it is Propionibacterium acnes. In fact, they are trying to change the name Propionibacterium acnes. Okay. So isotretinoin, the dose which is used is 0.5 to 1 milligram per kilogram body weight. And remember, the total cumulative dose must not exceed 120 to 150 milligram per kilogram body weight in total. So, if a patient of 60 kilogram comes, and then we'll prescribe 60 milligrams, so we can give the medication for a maximum of 210 days if you do the math. So that is approximately it will come to 6 to 7 months the medication has to be used. And the most important adverse drug reaction which can be seen with the use of isotretinoin is dry skin or cheilitis. So almost in 100% of the patients this can be seen. So we will always prescribe the patient to use some kind of lip balm, and to reduce if there is associated uh, dry skin, they can use a moisturizer. So the most severe adverse effect which is seen with the usage of oral isotretinoin is diffuse idiopathic skeletal hyperostosis. So this is the most dangerous and severe form of adverse effect which we should be taking care of. And one more thing is teratogenicity. So if so isotretinoin is a category X drug. So it is teratogenic, and contraception should be continued for 1 month even after stopping uh, the intake of the drug. This is because inside the body isotretinoin can be found at teratogenic levels for 1 month. And as you can remember, acitretin, which is another systemic retinoid, which is used in pustular psoriasis. It is a drug of choice in pustular psoriasis. Here, the acitretin levels in the blood were found to be present enough to cause teratogenic effects on fetus for 3 years. This is because acitretin remains in the fat in esterified form. So it can slowly get into the bloodstream for a period of 3 years. So the contraception should be continued for a span of 3 years in the case of acitretin usage. And I would discuss about rosacea also, as it is one of the close differential for acne vulgaris. So in the etiology, we remember there are 3 organisms associated, and one more thing is there is also vascular component, organisms and vascular. So in the organisms, a mite named Demodex follicularum is involved, along with the Bacillus oleronius is also involved. A few recent studies have even detected involvement of the Helicobacter pylori in the etiopathogenesis of rosacea. And in the vascular, there is exaggerated flushing. There is vasodilatation, which can be triggered by heat, the spicy food, alcohol, stress, emotional disturbances, anxiety, anxiousness, and all. These all will be given. Usually, this will be asked as a case-based question, and to rule out the acne, they would mention all these points in the question. This is seen usually in 4th to 5th decades in the females, and the four types of rosacea are erythemantotelangiectatic type, where there will be flushing, and remember there will be history of photosensitivity given in the question. And in the papulopustular, there will be of course papules and pustules. And in the type 3, there is rhinophymatous changes. Here, this is termed as phymatous rosacea, where there will be hypertrophic changes of the sebaceous gland, and the nose will appear like a potato, and due to the inflammation, the end result will be fibrosis. So this is how the nose appears like a potato, aloo. And coming to the type 4, that is ocular rosacea, these will have eye findings. The eye findings could range from conjunctivitis, blepharitis, uveitis, and the patient will come with the complaints of photophobia. So if all these are present, then it would point to the diagnosis of ocular rosacea, and along with that, of course, associated skin changes will also be given in the question. The sites which are predominantly involved in acne rosacea are convex cities, that is cheeks, chin, forehead, and nose. Remember, periorbital and perioral areas are spare. And coming to the treatment of rosacea, the most important is the avoidance of sun altogether if possible, and sun protection with the sunscreens and physical measures also, like using umbrella and hat. Topical agents, metronidazole 0.75%, retinoic acid 0.025% can be used. Remember, metronidazole is used in rosacea both in topical as well as systemic formulation. And one more important point to remember is topical steroids are altogether contraindicated because they can increase the chance of rosacea. They are having a role in etiopathogenesis. And systemic agents used are antibiotics like doxycycline, which is a mainstay of treatment. And we can also use isotretinoin. And as I've already told, metronidazole. Here, isotretinoin is used in a low doses, like 10 to 20 mg, and it should be given daily for at least a minimum of 2 to 6 months. And as there is a role of Demodex mite, so we will even give ivermectin 12 mg oral in stat form. And surgical procedures are advised for rhinophyma, where we will do debulking and recontouring of the phymatous lesion. And for the telangiectasia, that and also for the component of flushing, there are studies which have mentioned the alpha agonists, because of their vasoconstriction activity, they can be used. They are brimonidine, and oxymetazoline. These can be used. And coming to the clues which will be given in the question for the diagnosis of rosacea, there will be flushing, there will be classical triggers history given in the question, like photosensitivity, the triggers UV exposure causing photosensitivity, and also there can be associated emotional disturbances leading to the increase of the lesions, and intake of spicy foods, alcohol, all this will be given in the question. And there will be lack of comedones and involvement of convex cities. And remember, acne will involve the trunk commonly, but here in rosacea, the trunk will be rarely involved. So here you can see there is pairing of the creases, and periorbital and periorbital and perioral areas are spare, and creases are also not involved. So in this way we can differentiate. So To differentiate from this forms a closed differential for systemic lupus erythematosus. So if the examiner wants to point more towards systemic lupus erythematosus, there will be other clues given in the question like associated arthritis and other points which will be in favor of systemic lupus erythematosus. Even they can mention some blood investigations where they can mention anti-dsDNA, anti-nuclear antibodies presence, which will point towards systemic lupus erythematosus. They will not give these points if they want to make acne rosacea as a diagnosis. So that's it about acne rosacea. As I've already told, sebaceous glands are usually associated with hair follicles, but at times they are modified or ectopic sebaceous glands, which are not associated with hair follicles. From top to bottom, if we see in the eyelids, there are meibomian glands and glands of Zeiss, which are ectopic sebaceous glands. And here, one more point to be remembered, which is important, is mole glands, which are present in the eyelids. These are modified. These are modified glands, but these you should remember these are modified apocrine glands. And how to remember? One vague way to remember is like Mo and Apo. So apocrine glands are modified in eyelids to form mole glands. You can remember one way. And 4D spots, these are yellowish flat-topped papules which are present over the lips, and more commonly they are present over the upper lips. Remember, they can also be present in the buccal mucosa and pineal shaft. So one more entity which is to be remembered and not to be confused is Fox Fordis disease. See, Fox Fordis is a disease, whereas Fordis spots, this is not a disease per se. This is a physiological thing which can be present normally, and we need to reassure the patient in Fox Fordis spots are present. But Fox Fordis disease is a debilitating and embarrassing situation seen in teenage girls, where there will be intensely itchy papules in the axillae predominantly. They can be even present in the groin also. So this is, you should remember that this is a disorder of apocrine glands. And one more modified sebaceous glands are Montgomery tubercles. Uh, Glands of Montgomery are sebaceous glands in the areola surrounding the nipple. And Tyson's glands, which are modified sebaceous glands located around the corona and inner surface of the prepuce. So that's it, friends, in this video, where we have briefly discussed about all the possible questions which can be asked in the future and also which were asked in the past from the topic of acne vulgaris and rosacea and modified or ectopic sebaceous glands. So if if you have not yet joined my Telegram channel, do join it. Links will be given in the description, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would be posting in the future some topics which are related to dermatology. Maybe I will also discuss a few important controversial questions and maybe some more short topics in the future. So that's it, friends. Thank you for patient listening. Bye.
Thank you, sir, so much for your interactive session, and it was very nice slides with nice pictures. Okay, friends. So for more sessions, you can visit here LearnPad, and you can click on upcomings, and you can register it. The upcoming is on 20th May by Dr. Venkatesh on pediatric epilepsy syndrome. and this session you can download from the store. It is free, and you can click on any of this session and you can download for free. Thank you. So meet you in the next session, guys.